Welcome to the WealthStack podcast. I'm your host, Shannon Rosic, the director of WealthStack Content Solutions. I'm joined by Greg Gates, managing director and chief technology and information officer for LPL Financial. And today's topic, how one of the largest independent broker dealers approaches digital transformation. And being a CTO at one of, if not the largest IBD, I know you're extremely busy, Greg, so really appreciate you coming on the podcast.
It's exciting to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And so before we dive into our first segment, I want to start with your background. And I always joke that this will be the hardest question that you'll get this entire chat. So tell me what makes Greg, well, ultimately Greg, and how you landed at LPL Financial.
Sure, that is the hardest question because I really don't love talking about myself, but I'll give it a go. So I've been at LPL Financial for about 5 years now. Prior to LPL, I led product and technology teams at PayPal, which was an exciting stint there. Got to learn how to work in a really agile fashion, be part of the Silicon Valley ethos and ecosystem, and that was fun. And prior to that, Bank of America and Merrill Lynch, one of the largest financial institutions in the world, and had a chance to work on some of the core technology that Bank of America and Merrill Lynch have to offer, and then also work on a number of mergers and acquisitions and integrations, which is definitely a formative experience. So that's a little bit about the technology career. And I think when you look at what LPL is attempting to do, we are trying to serve advisors as best as we possibly can, and technology needs to be a big part of how we show up every day for advisors, and so that's ultimately what I was trying to bring, is a little bit of that background from my previous stints to LPL. What makes me is a harder question to answer. I think it's probably not surprising to hear that a tech guy is going to self-declare as a huge nerd, right? I like to read a lot. I like to spend time with my family, and that's really about who I am.
I was going to say, you mentioned some big names in there. So obviously an incredibly accomplished career thus far and making some huge impacts at LPL. I mean, again, just at the forefront as the biggest IBD in the marketplace. So something is obviously working. And I know that you won CTO of the Year at the Wealthies in 2023, and I somehow missed you at the event, which makes me crazy, but it is packed there. So obviously hope to see you back this year. And not to get too red carpet Oscar-esque on you, but what does that award mean or represent to you?
Yeah, first of all, if anybody hasn't been to the awards, it's definitely an experience. I've gotten to go twice. And you're right, it is shoulder to shoulder, and it's black tie, and it's not my everyday life, right? And so it really is fun. The experience is great. You get a chance to meet really everybody in the industry, from potential partners to existing partners, other companies in the space, and it's a great event where you really do learn a lot. Winning the award was I think pretty humbling. We really do celebrate the fact that it's not any one individual that does accomplish things. It is a team. We play a team sport, and I think it's exciting for LPL and our team, because it cements us as a strategic asset for the firm. And it's a little bit of proof that what we're doing is actually driving value for our advisors. And so for our team, it's a recognition of their work. It's exciting also because it's a panel of judges from within the industry, so they have a chance to see what is everybody doing, how much progress is everybody making, and to be chosen by that esteemed panel of judges is really exciting for the team. What's more important than the award is it's a bit of a validation of what we're hearing from our advisors and institutions. And that's that they feel that we're listening, we're learning, we're applying their feedback, and life is getting a little bit better all the time for how they operate their businesses on a day-to-day basis. And then also we're adding strategic value to them as they go forward. So it's a bit of a validation of what we hear anecdotally as well.
Well, thank you for indulging me on that question. So Let's dive into our first segment that I call Stats All Folks. So you oversee infrastructures that serve LPL's nearly 22,000 financial advisors, which ultimately represents about $1 trillion of brokerage and advisory assets. So no easy feat there, but again, you're obviously doing something right. So here's the $1 million question. How are you approaching and enhancing the digital experience at LPL, knowing that you have to serve 22,000 advisors?
Well, so something that I'll give you a little bit of a longer answer to this question, I think, the because it's complicated. I think I'll start by our framework that we use. Everything that we do is around helping the advisor institution take care of their clients. And then if you break that down, we want to help advisors run more efficient businesses or institutions run more efficient businesses. And then we also want to help the advisors take care of their own clients better than they ever have before. And so when you look at serving a population, like you just mentioned, one of the things that we have to offer is a full breadth of different affiliation models that we have and that we offer, because we're really trying to serve the community and everything that they might need. And so in those different models that we offer, there are specific needs that each of them have. And when we approach our digital transformation, what we're really trying to do is uncover, again, what are the foundational things that they need from us on a daily basis? What are the things that will help them either drive more efficient businesses or take care of their clients better, or strategically, how do they differentiate themselves going forward? We formed a UI UX team. We have councils of ambassadors in each of these affiliation models, where they come and give us their ideas and insights and feedback. And ultimately, what I really try and make sure we're not doing, we want to make sure that we're not building tech for tech's sake. We want to make sure that everything that we do is grounded in the voice of the advisors and institutions that are part of our councils. And a different way to say that is, my role isn't their job. For me to give them technology that allows them to do their jobs a little bit better, the technology sort of has to be influenced and designed by them. And so it's really what we've instituted over the past few years. And as you said, it's helped us to improve a lot of things and help us grow, and more importantly, help advisors and institutions grow their businesses.
And I saw in 2023, LPL was projected to spend around 260 million on technology alone. So let's get a bit more technical. What were the priorities for that spend, and what is 2024 looking like?
Yeah, 2024 is even bigger. And so we are differentiating ourselves, I think, with the amount of investment we're making into the platform. A couple of big things. Number one, we want service and technology that's sound, fast, reliable. We want a secure operating system. Those foundational items are key to any business. It's certainly true in our industry. If you don't have them, you struggle to get trust and confidence, right? Fast, reliable, security. Those are some general principles, and we make sure that we protect ongoing investment for all advisors and institutions on our current platform to make sure that we're delivering on that promise. We also look to invest back into the business solutions so that we are offering overall better products. We're putting the advisor at the center of all of our funding decisions. Ultimately, we're trying to reduce friction in their work. And I think if I were to zoom sort of way out, something that we're really trying to offer is personalization in the experience. What that personalization requires is a deep listening, but in our industry, with a plethora of third-party and wealth tech solutions that are out there, we have to be great integrators as well. And so we want to offer a wide range of choices, but also we want to care for the integrations and how we deliver the solutions.
And I want to dive into the integration aspect a little bit because it has been a continuous challenge in our industry. There's no secrets there. So, when you're doing due diligence on third party tech vendors, what are you looking for? Is that one of the first questions you're trying to answer? Is how quickly and how seamlessly you can integrate those tools?
It's definitely a really big, important point. We do want to make sure that they can care for the basics that I talked about also. We want to make sure that they're going to be reliable and secure partners for us, because ultimately that's our promise, right? So we have to make sure that when we decide to partner with a third party, that they are going to carry forward the promise that we offer to institutions or advisors. Ultimately, what we're trying to deliver is an end-to-end technology platform for advisors or institutions. And that doesn't mean we have to build everything ourselves. It does mean that we have to care for the end-to-end experience, whether or not we're building it ourselves or whether we've decided to partner with somebody. So integration is right at the top of the list when it comes to the due diligence that we're doing, because if we can't facilitate the means of data exchange, then we know that we can't care for the experience that ultimately people demand and need, right? We don't want to offer a platform that has 75 different login experiences or swivel chairs or 75 different screens up. We want to offer a deeply integrated experience that sort of hangs together for the advisor, because again, what we're trying to solve for is help them either run a more efficient business or a more successful business or be better advisors at the end of the day. And you can't do that if you're constantly context switching between applications. So that's a big one. It's the same is true when we look at whether we're going to build something ourselves, right? When you're starting to build at scale, it is possible to not care for the integration, to be caught up on I'm building this widget or thing and make that great. But if it doesn't hang together in a good integrated workflow or journey, then it's not going to be ultimately delivering the value that we want to deliver. So bi-directional integration between all components, whether the things that we build ourselves or things that we decide to partner with a third party, are key aspects of it. And then lastly, on the build versus buy, it's really a function of strategic alignment. If the third party piece of software, if it's differentiated in the market, if it allows us to have a deep integration, and it's going to continue to invest in itself and continue to be great, then that's probably something that we're more likely to integrate with. And if we don't see that those things are likely to be true, then that might be, and it's core to our mission, then that might be something where we decide to build. And so it's a decision that we make on a lot of different factors every single time.
Well, you read my mind because I was going to dive into that a little bit around what's driving your buying decisions and that build versus buy argument, ultimately what goes into making that decision. Because at the end of the day, how are you prioritizing tech initiatives for advisors? There's, like you said, a lot goes into it, and there's other initiatives that I'm sure take precedent. For example, cybersecurity. So, how do you ultimately, on a monthly, quarterly, yearly basis, prioritize those initiatives for advisors?
Yeah, well, I think a benefit that we have is we do have the scale and ability to invest in a number of things. So it's not like we're choosing between one or two things. We have built a great team that has capacity to work on a number of things at once. That being said, there's never a shortage of ideas. Prioritization is required, to your point. We look at it in the following framework. So you mentioned security or stability. Those are foundational items that need to be part of any great operating platform. Those are our number one priorities, right? Is that foundational stuff that's out there. And so we're not going to choose to do something else at the expense of those things. And because they are fundamental, and everything builds off of the solid foundation of technology that you need to have. once you get past those foundational items, we want to look at a couple of things. Number one, on the delivering great advice front, we want to make sure that advisors are positioned to create the kind of experience that they need to create with their investors. So we are generally prioritizing something around enriching the investor experience. We want to expand the breadth and depth of the advice that they're able to offer. So we make priority decisions there. We want to make sure that we are building a world-class wealth management platform that has things like, best in class investment products in it, et cetera. So we want to make sure we prioritize those items. So on the idea of delivering great advice, those are usually the things that we're looking at to make sure we're prioritizing items there. And then lastly, on helping advisors or institutions run thriving businesses, we're looking at how do we partner with them so that they can design what they believe is their perfect business and offer the experience that they want to offer. So that's things like data-driven insights, a better reporting capabilities, new business solutions that we would offer to allow them to scale and differentiate their businesses. Again, we want to provide that operating platform that's well designed. So it's the things that we were just talking about in terms of caring for deep integrations, customer journeys, et cetera. And then lastly, we need to delight advisors and institutions the way they delight their customers. So how do we show up every day to serve them, from the way we provide service or compliance and supervision solutions, et cetera. These are all things that we need to do to serve them well, and we make sure we prioritize there. So if it's not one of the things I just mentioned, then it's going to fall lower on the priority list, right? And we're trying to judge our potential opportunities against that sort of a framework.
And obviously, tech spend certainly differentiates LPL, but how much is tech a factor, especially when it comes to recruiting new advisors? I know folks are just really looking for that turnkey, easy plug in, like you said, no swivel chair. But when you are recruiting advisors to LPL, is that one of the first things advisors bring up? What does your tech stack look like?
It very much is, and if you're the type of person that reads a lot of press releases, it's mentioned a lot from advisors who have chosen to join the platform. Technology is a critical factor in their decision making. I mean, ultimately, I would go all the way back to the primary vision of the company, which is we take care of advisors and institutions so they can take care of their clients. And so if you start there, the technology investments are all designed, the technology capabilities are all designed around that mission of taking care of advisors so they can take care of their clients. And what is often differentiating when they look at the platform is that it is, in general, it's a differentiated platform. There are always things that we can improve, and we're always looking to improve. But if you take it in its totality, we do offer unprecedented and unrivaled choice for how advisors would affiliate with us. And that choice is expressed through technology and how we serve them in our service models as well on a day-to-day basis. And that really, that mission statement that we have comes through when they look at the technology, and it's definitely a point of decision making for them.
On behalf of WealthManagement.com, we invite you to join us on May 13th through 16th in Hollywood, Florida, for WealthStack, part of Wealth Management Edge. Our agenda is designed to power a new generation of growth-oriented advisors with the latest innovations and trends in technology strategies. From captivating keynote speakers to interactive workshops, dedicated think tanks, a dynamic exhibit hall, and hands-on demonstrations of cutting-edge technologies, you'll leave with a deep understanding of how to accelerate growth at your practice. Use promo code podcast20 to save 20% off your registration. Visit wealthmanagementedge-event.com for more information.
And speaking of differentiated technology, we have to talk about AI.
Sure.
Obviously dominating the headlines over the last year plus, But what is LPL's stance on AI, and how are you ultimately approaching it?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be listen, it wouldn't be a podcast in 2024 without some mention of AI.
Exactly.
So first and foremost, we do believe that it's real, right? There are a number of technology trends that have, come and gone over the course of my career, but I think this one is a real one. It's material, and it's likely to create some significant change in all of our lives, including in the wealth management industry. Our view is that AI will be an assistant for advisors. At the core of our mission is a belief that end investors really do benefit from human-centered advice. So our model is not, or our applications of AI are not serving to replace the advisor in any way. Although I'm sure some people will run at that as their mission, it won't be ours. We see ourselves as bringing clarity to advisors about AI. There's an explosion of third-party technologies that advisors can leverage, and we need to be their partner so that they use that technology safely. And also, we can help direct how to use AI to solve relevant business needs that they might have. And then we want to pilot advisor-facing AI solutions. Things like the ability to give an advisor insights that help them stay more engaged with their clients or run a more efficient business. There could be ways that we would leverage AI to deliver better service to them, whether that's the ability to do a marketing review a lot faster for them, or the ability to get them the answer they need more seamlessly, again, so they can spend more of their time either running their business or taking care of their clients. That's the model. So we're looking at a number of different solutions out there. We have a council of advisors that we talk to, and we look at potential applications of technology. We'll try out certain things, see if it adds material value or not. And then we'll continue to iterate through this, both in the application of AI within our technology stack, but also how do we enable them to take the most advantage of what's already out there in the industry.
Well, I love to hear that because so much of AI is focused on the end client experience. And look, rightfully, but I'm extremely encouraged to hear that you're focusing on AI when it comes to the advisor experience. So then I have to ask, as we wrap up this segment, what's on the roadmap for LPL for this year and beyond?
Well, I think there are a few things. First and foremost, we're working on capabilities that reduce complexity, improve efficiency, bring more time into the advisor's day, and reduce friction. We want to make sure that we're really simplifying things. It's a noisy world out there. If you're an advisor, the amount of time that you spend looking at the map of capabilities that have really exploded over the last 10, it can be difficult to take a look at those capabilities and then understand how to apply them forward into your current experience. So we have a number of deeper and better bidirectional integrations coming this year to deliver a better ecosystem. In terms of improving efficiency, big improvements in what I'll call the day-to-day transactions that an advisor needs to work through. Think things like rebalancing a portfolio, or moving money around in the ecosystem, et cetera. What we're really trying to do is improve their operational efficiency so that we deliver scale to them, right? And those capabilities, bringing more time into their day. This is where there are things out there like the ability to prepare for a meeting without having to pull reports from a million different places, right? Really pragmatically solving for the time it takes to prepare before a meeting and make sure that they're positioned to have a great interaction with their client would be a big item. And then reducing friction. We have a lot of voice of the advisor out there, and we're committed to removing a huge percentage of the friction points this year. And so that's I tend to answer these questions in the continuous improvement lens, right? Because I want advisors to hear that we are listening and we're learning and we're applying pragmatic solutions to them across, that rubric of reducing complexity, improving efficiency for them, getting them more time in their day, and then reducing operational friction.
Well, I appreciate you sharing everything about the roadmap coming up. So, a lot of exciting things obviously happening for advisors and their clients. But it is time for segment 2 of this episode, Greg, which I call Ask Us Anything, where I've gone out to the social universe and asked them to submit questions they want answered by you. And we had a few folks slide into the DMs this week. And the first question we actually got, you alluded to it earlier, but the question was, everyone talks about personalization and it means different things to different people. What does it mean for LPL and what's your strategy for it?
Sure. So I'll go back. It's a great question. It starts at the most fundamental level. I think when people talk about personalization, they often jump straight to the digital experience. Certainly that plays in, but I'll start the answer to it before we even get to technology. We want to offer the most horizontal scalability horizontal differentiation that we could offer in the industry. And so what that really means when it comes to personalization is, how does an advisor design their practice? And we have a number of different models right at that most foundational question. Do you want to affiliate with us in more of like a traditional independent model? Do you want to affiliate with us as part of a larger institution? Do you want to affiliate with us on a hybrid RIA or corporate RIA? Or do you want to be part of a W-2 model? All of those affiliation models we offer, and others. And so personalization starts with empowering the advisor to design their practice the way they want it designed. And we have to be able to serve all of those needs. So that's number one. Once you get past that, we want to offer a great and robust wealth management platform. So personalization would look and feel like, do you want to do model-based accounts? Do you want to do more like rep as PM type accounts? Do you want to, what are the types of models that you want to offer as you go to market with your end investor? Then personalization also looks like the way we serve advisors. And so we've built a number of business solutions, some of which are people, some of which are technology, where we can offer additional services to advisors. And it's at their choice, right? If they see value in those services, they can subscribe to them. And again, it's more along the lines of allowing them to design their perfect practice. And then finally, we get to the pure technology. And in the technology, we want to build the ability to configure items throughout the experience. So we want to offer choice. As an example, there are multiple CRM choices to share data in bidirectional fashion. So you have personalization in which CRM you use. How does that make its way into and then back out of the LPL ecosystem? We offer choice not just on CRM, but if you go look up and down the WealthTech stack, we have an affinity program that cares for those integrations across really every level of the WealthTech stack. And then within the experience itself, we want to, again, empower the advisor to turn on or off certain items. So we've built an end client experience that allows an advisor to do a whole bunch of different things in that experience. But if they don't want to configure their practice to take advantage of those things, essentially those are checkbox choices that they can make in the configuration of the experience so that they, again, can offer the solution that they want to their end clients. So, and the same is true in the advisor workstations as well. The ability to move widgets around, create custom reporting, We really want to empower the advisor to design and get out of the solutions what they want for how their office runs.
Well, I think that listener will be incredibly satisfied with that answer. So thank you. We did have one more. In light of the recent acquisition of Atria Wealth, scale can make things a lot easier, but it can also make it harder to maneuver. How do you ultimately strike a balance?
Well, I think it's a great question. And first of all, I'll just say I'm really excited about the Atria acquisition. Number one, it further extends our leadership in this marketplace. Like us, Atria's focus has been on supporting independent advisors and banks and credit unions. And we share a culture of putting the advisor at the center of everything that we do. So, from that standpoint, and anytime you're going to have a business event like this, you are looking for cultural alignment, and we have it here. Atria's network allows us to gain access to a ton of resources and capabilities, which allow them to deliver more value to their clients, and it allows us to help with that. We look at this in the context of a lot of the growth, to get to the question, a lot of the growth that we've had on the platform. And the way I would say it is growth creates opportunities to invest. I've had the privilege of working at a number of growth companies in my career. It's always better to be affiliated with a growth company because you have the ability to continue to invest back into the platform. And that's exactly what we're doing. The scale allows us to continue to build capabilities needed to serve a broader pool of advisors and investors and institutions. And the growth really helps us make those choices. So that, to get back to the earlier question about prioritization, you don't have as many prioritization choices that you have to make because the scale creates a higher capacity to invest.
Well, I appreciate you being put on the spot and your insightful answers. But we have come to our final and what might be my favorite segment that I affectionately call Stack It or Whack It. So I'm going to throw out a few technologies. Be warned, they're not necessarily wealth tech related and sometimes random
Right.
thoughts, especially if I know you. And you tell me essentially if they're worth the hype or not. So stack it, use it, love it, whack it, lose it, hate it.
That's
So,
good.
so first one I have to ask you about. After a little bit of LinkedIn and online creeping, I saw that you're a Vanderbilt graduate. I had a ton of family go there, so very familiar with the campus, and I have a ton of family in the Nashville area. And I used to drive down from Miami of Ohio to hang out with my cousin back in the day.
Love it.
So I have to ask, stack or whack the Commodores 2024 football season?
Oh my goodness. So number one, I gotta start with anchor down for any Vanderbilt fans out there. I'll answer it this way, very diplomatically. I think it'll be better than last year. How about that?
So a hybrid stack.
Yeah. I don't expect I'll put it this way. I don't expect Vanderbilt to win the SEC next year. That would be pretty shocking, but I do think that they are building a program. And after a long time of being a Vanderbilt fan, I do have confidence that they're actually improving year over year.
All right, fair enough. That is a diplomatic answer.
It is.
All right, second one I have to ask you about. You mentioned you were an avid reader, so I have to get your thoughts then. Stack it or whack it when it comes to audiobooks.
I despise them. I gotta say. Easy answer for me. A couple of reasons why. Number one, if I'm going to listen to something, I'd rather listen to a podcast. You generally have a more engaging conversation. It keeps my attention a little bit better. And then on audiobooks, they never read at the same pace that I think it should be. Whether I speed it up or slow it down, I'm always getting annoyed. When I'm reading a book myself, I'm never annoyed at the pace in which I'm reading. It's either slow because I want it to be slow or fast because I want it to be fast. You know what I mean?
You
And
make a valid argument. All right, so we're going to whack the audiobooks. I can respect that. Well, Greg, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you, and thank you for all your commentary and insights today. Feel free to tell listeners where they can find out more about what you're working on at LPL or any other call to action that you'd like to share.
I think, first of all, thank you, Shannon, for having me on the call. I really enjoyed it and enjoyed getting to know you. If you're interested in more, you can follow us on social media. As you mentioned, you can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us at lpl.com. And we generally try and be pretty easy to find. If you can't find us, please shoot me a note and I'll connect you.
Fantastic. And be sure to like and subscribe to the WealthStack podcast on all major podcasting platforms and follow all things WealthStack on wealthmanagement.com, LinkedIn, and Twitter, or X. I still can't call it X yet. But if you do want the in-person WealthStack experience, join me May 13th through 16th at the Diplomat in Hollywood, Florida for Wealth Management Edge. And thank you all for tuning in.